It is generally acknowledged that there are three main great works of Wild West fiction. Blood Meridian is the westest, Lonesome Dove undoubtedly the bestest, and that leaves us with Butcher's Crossing, which I've heard might be the wildest. That's in the background, isn't it? That's ruining the background. I have to cut that down. But I think I have something to use it for. I guess we'll read later. This bad boy right here, it needs to go. Number one, because it's an ugly 4x4 instead of natural wood like this one. And number two, because it's not even close to tall. It needs to be a rough. It's 220. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut down that tree that was in the background, ruining my take, and I'm gonna put it right there. Our new friends from Butcher's Crossing are hunters and frontiersmen. Men used to working the land. They would probably have used very similar techniques to what I will use when they were cutting down trees. All you need is a simple axe and a simple saw and a little bit of grit.
Nature and how it can serve man is a big part of what the story of Butcher's Crossing is about. The 1870s crusade on bison in the West, destroying populations of bison by the millions and ruining the livelihood of countless natives, is the clearest example of misuse of natural resources in recent history. This is where we find ourselves as we turn the first pages of this novel. A small frontier town in Kansas in the late 1870s, following a young man wanting to see the world. Signing on with a hunting crew bound for the last of the large herds, he travels across vast miles of open plains to enter the mountain country of the Rockies. Here they do find this fabled last great herd, and over the next couple weeks they lay waste to thousands, skinning the beasts for profit, but otherwise leaving the carcasses to rot. As their hunting trip tips towards autumn and they start packing up, the snow starts to fall. They spend a grueling and hard winter trapped in the uncaring mountain range, unable to carry the skins home through the snow drives.
Now that the tree is felled, I need to start removing all the branches so that I can cut the log at the length that I need for the building project.
And as the weather thaws and the roads clear, they start trekking back through a harsher countryside than what had carried them there. But what they find back in their little town has made it all pointless. The skin market has dried up. No one is willing to buy, and what was once a $4,000 haul has turned to a terrible paperweight. You might know that during this time the systematic killing of bison was intense, but seeing pictures like these don't do enough to explain the scale. It's assumed that the population of bison by the start of the 1800s was well in excess of 60 million.
Now that I have removed all the big branches at the very least, I'm going to make a quick measurement. Measure once, cut as many times as you need, and then I'm going to cut it. I'm going to go ahead and cut this at 275 because who needs accuracy when you have room for error?
But by the time of the end of the 1880s, barely 80 years later, only 500 of these animals existed in all of America. The government had been giving promised prices for hides until they didn't. The price of $4 to the hide that the hunting party had been promised had suddenly fallen through, and the return amount was nothing. The story is amongst the best examples of both what happens when the misuse of nature goes too far and what harsh punishments nature can dish out. Here in Norway, the law gives everyone free roam to all nature, whether privately owned or not. But we are all taught throughout school to take responsibly, leave no mark, and always respect nature. The tree that I'm cutting here is cut responsibly. Every part will be used. This lower beam will be for a building project, the rest is going to firewood, and the branches and other parts will go to composting. Waste not, want not, and all that. I would not be one to leave carcasses of felled beasts to rot. For shame, Miller. For shame.